The crystalline spires of the celestial palace gleamed under 3 moons when Frozen first laid eyes on her intended husband. Neither smiled. This was not a marriage of love, it was a treaty written in vows. A political necessity to unite two warring factions of humanity's scattered empire. Frozen, daughter of the Northern Quadrant's supreme chancellor, had been raised for this moment. Her every breath had been measured, every word calculated. She wore the traditional silver battle dress of her people, though she had never seen combat. Finch, son of the Southern Coalition's war marshal, bore the scars of 17 campaigns across his arms and neck. He was a soldier first, a diplomat never. "Do you accept this union?" the arbiter asked, his voice echoing through the vast hall filled with witnesses from both territories. "I do," Frozen said, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "I do," Finch replied, each syllable clipped and emotionless. The crowd erupted in polite applause. The war was over. Peace had been purchased with their freedom. The first year of their marriage was silent. Frozen managed diplomatic relations and cultural exchanges. Finch trained soldiers and patrolled borders. They met twice a week for formal dinners where conversation never strayed. She had never expected love. Duty was enough. It had to be. But sometimes, late at night, she would see Finch standing on the eastern balcony, staring at the stars with an expression she couldn't read. Longing, perhaps. Or regret. She never asked. Everything changed when the void descended. They came without warning, entities from the dark spaces between galaxies, creatures of pure malevolence that consumed worlds like locusts. The fragile peace between the Northern Quadrant and Southern Coalition shattered instantly as both territories scrambled to defend themselves. Frozen watched from the command center as city after city fell. Millions died in the first week. The human military, divided for so long, couldn't coordinate fast enough. They were losing. Finch volunteered for the front lines immediately. "You don't have to go," Frozen said, surprising herself with the emotion in her voice. It was the first time she had spoken to him beyond formality in months. He looked at her then, really looked at her for the first time since their wedding. "Yes, I do. It's what I was made for." Something in his eyes made her chest tighten. "Then come back." He nodded once and left without another word. The reports from the front were devastating. Finch fought like a man possessed, leading suicide missions to buy evacuation time for civilian populations. Humanity was dying by degrees. Then Frozen received the transmission. The message was brief, his voice strained. "It's called the Crucible of Ascension. The old texts say it can transform a worthy warrior into something more, something powerful enough to turn the tide. I'm going in." Finch, wait, but the transmission cut off. For 3 days, there was only silence. Frozen abandoned her post. She took a fast ship to the coordinates, ignoring protocols, ignoring the danger. When she arrived at the ancient site, she found Finch's battalion standing vigil around a massive structure of impossible geometry, humming with power that made reality shimmer. And then he emerged. Finch walked out of the crucible, but he was no longer merely human. His body radiated energy that crackled like lightning. His eyes glowed with the very air bent around him, responding to his will. He had become something beyond mortal comprehension, a god of war, forged from determination and sacrifice. The void entities sensed him immediately. They descended on the colony world in a swarm, but Finch raised his hand and reality obeyed. He moved through space like thought, each gesture obliterating hundreds of the creatures. The battle that should have lasted days ended in minutes. Frozen watched, her heart pounding, as her husband, her stranger of a husband, won an impossible victory. When Finch returned to the ground, the power still crackling around him, he found Frozen waiting. His enhanced senses could hear her heartbeat, feel her fear mixed with something else he couldn't name. "You came," he said, his voice layered with harmonics that hadn't existed before. "You asked me to wait for you to come back," Frozen replied. "I thought I should be here when you did." For the first time in their marriage, Finch smiled. It was small, uncertain, but real. "I was afraid the Crucible would take everything human from me. But seeing you here, I can still feel it." Frozen stepped closer, looking up at this being who was both her husband and something infinitely more. "What happens now?" "Now I end this war," Finch said. "The void will be driven back. Humanity will survive. He paused, vulnerability flickering across his transcendent features. But after, I don't know if there's a place for something like me in peacetime. Frozen reached out, her hand hovering near his. Energy sparked between them, but she didn't pull away. We started as strangers bound by duty. Maybe we could try starting again, as something else. Finch's glowing eyes softened. He took her hand, carefully controlling the power that could unmake worlds, holding her with a gentleness that contradicted his new nature. The war would continue for months more, but Finch, now the god of war humanity had needed, drove the void back across every front. And through it all, Frozen stood beside him, no longer just a political symbol, but a partner who had chosen to see the man within the god. Their marriage had begun as duty, but in the crucible of war and transformation, it had become something neither had expected, a genuine connection forged between two souls who had finally chosen each other. When peace finally came, they faced it together, god and mortal, husband and wife, ready to discover what their future might hold.